Write a book, what book would you write?
Whew, that's a good question, man. I guess given that I really like history,
Yeah.
maybe I will center all my time and efforts on writing on someone that I admire.
Ooh.
Maybe I don't know, but I really like my family a lot. So maybe I can
Okay.
write the story of my family, so it can stay forever. Like once you write a book, it stays forever. It gets immortal. So that's something that I'm really interested
Wow, right on, dude. Well, that's great.
in. I
That's
appreciate that,
awesome,
man.
man.
Yeah.
Well, let's hop right into it, man. I don't do any fancy intros. Everybody knows that who listens, but you're the owner of Symbiosis. Is that what it's
hmm
called?
Yeah, symbiosis. That's right.
Symbiosis. All right. Tell me more about that. It's like a recruiting kind of platform.
Yeah, it's interesting because you know the nearshore model at all.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so basically what happened there is that there's a lot of software development companies in countries like Mexico, Argentina, Colombia, that they are more like service companies assigning their own developers to projects in the US, right? So what we
Mhm.
try to do here is that at Symbiosis, we created a marketplace for connecting tech companies in the US, mainly startups, with software agencies in countries like Mexico, Argentina, Colombia that have available talent so they can connect each other and share the talent. So
Wow.
basically, instead of being a service company, we're moving to the next step and building this platform. So building a marketplace that it will make it way more efficient, so you can find all the talent you require.
Yeah, wow. So like these people in Latin America then can, pick up side gigs and things like that.
Yeah, well, it's more like a full time job,
Oh, okay. Okay.
uh
Okay.
and instead of freelancers, you're dealing with agency developer, and there's a huge difference there. Like
Okay.
there are a lot of platforms like Upwork or TopTal that
Yeah.
they help you to connect with freelancers.
Yeah.
But one of the main problems that we have heard from our current clients is that they don't like to work with freelancers, given of the lack of accountability, the lack of commitment. So what we're doing here is that you're dealing with an agency that already have those engineers as in-house employees, and they will assign
Yeah.
them to your project like full time. And if there's a problem, there's always the support from the agency there.
Oh yeah, no, that's a great point actually, because I've used Fiverr quite a bit, and yeah, the problem with Fiverr is like the problem that I see with like Fiverr and Upwork and these places, along with the things that you mentioned, accountability, commitments, and things like that, is like short term versus long term.
Exactly.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like it's like I don't want to hire them for one project, but I don't want to keep going back and ordering on Fiverr. I just want you to like we set up a contract or a term or something, and then I just want you to run with it. You know what I mean?
I do. Yeah, and I agree with you. And one thing that we solve through our model is that this is a flexible monthly model. Every month you decide if you want to continue or not. And the engineers will be assigned to your project for as long as you need, 6 months, 1 year. And after 1 year working through our model, you can offer the developers a direct contract. So they become like your in-house employees. So this is a pretty convenient way for to start working with the developers, and afterwards, if you realize that they're a good fit, you can bring them on to your own company. Mhm.
That's pretty sweet. So it's almost like an advanced, like, I don't want to say temp agency, but it's kind of like a temp, like they get to try out, like taste an employee, and then if they like it, they can keep going.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, that's really cool. But then now this is more of like, because like traditional temp agencies will be like brick and mortar, and they're more
hmm
maybe they're more like trade oriented, where people are looking for plumbers or electricians or something like that. But you're
Yeah,
focused on like tech. And now
that's right.
and your employees are they remote? Is it remote work?
Yeah, that's right. That's 100% remote. And what we're doing here is that none of these developers are our developers. What we do here is that we're just a marketplace, a platform that connects you with the agencies that already have them as employees. So it is easier for us to scale and to grow as a platform. And
Uh-huh.
given that we're not limited to our own resources, we're able to provide the top talent in different technologies, right? So their front end development, back end, mobile. So given that we don't have those engineers like in-house, and we have to look for them and hire. We only need to tap to a specialized software agency in Mexico, for example, or in Argentina, and they will be able to provide top quality talent there.
Wow, dude. That's awesome.
I
Holy
appreciate
cow.
it, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. And so I mean, is that the space that you're in? Are you in tech right now? Are you in that kind of that SaaS world?
Yeah. So, well, just talking a bit about myself. I've been an entrepreneur for the last 10 years. One of the first companies were on software as well. And then I moved to hardware, and we launched a advanced material that helped people regulate their body's temperature. The idea
Mm.
was to focus on athletes, and the project's still active. I spent around 4 years there. And then after around 2 years ago, I decided to move to the next project and create Symbiosis, which is the current project that we have. And yeah, I believe that this is part of being an entrepreneur, like a serial entrepreneur. You're always trying to build the next thing. And I realized that remote work is something that is going to happen. So, it's happening right now. And with COVID and all that stuff, it's growing on a fast rate. So our idea is to help and accelerate and to create the best tools to make it easier.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think remote work's going away, especially for like development and like engineers and things like that. Like
Yeah,
if you're full stack or front end, back end, mobile, I mean, like you don't really need, you know what I mean? I mean, it's kind of nice, I guess, if you're close, you can go into the office, but you don't really need it. I mean, we have all the tools nowadays that like you can be fully remote and do your job exceptionally well. You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so and one thing that we realized that is that, like, for example, software engineers can work from their own home without any problem, but there's a particular advantage of having an office. In this case, with the software agencies that they provide the office space, sometimes the engineer gather there and they share talent and they share,
Mhm.
like some feedback and stuff about their own code.
Yeah.
So given that they are specialized in the same technology, it is easier to ask a senior developer, if you're a mid-level developer, to ask a senior for a particular issue that you're having with your own project. So yeah, there's always an advantage to keep working in a same space, but doing remote projects.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's incredible. So what kind of feedback have you gotten from, because here's one big thing that I've kind of read about, that they're slowly starting to like, I guess, research, because remote work is more prevalent. But like when you do like your remote work and you have your, the people who are doing this work, like the agencies that are fulfilling this, have you heard any of like, I mean, once they go, remote, once they're brought on as full-time, if that ever, if that were to happen, you know, but before that, do you ever get like feedback from the employees that are like, they don't have as many opportunities in the remote workplace, or like maybe they're not seen as like, like a real employee or something like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So something that is happening right now in the region is that we're having a tech boom here in South and Central America. Normally when you ask someone in the States if they are looking to hire talent, they will say like, yeah, I'm outsourcing talent from Asia or Europe,
Yeah.
and that's great. They are super well positioned, and the thing here is that maybe there's a little difficulty there because of the different time zones and also some cultural barriers. But normally,
Sure.
people are used to work on that, right? So it works. But right now here, we're in the same continent, so we share the same time zones,
Yeah.
and people are really, really proficient in English, so it is easier to communicate with them as well. And one problem that they have, even though there's a technology boom in the region, a lot of companies are focused on local environments. So all their developers are used to work on local projects, and they are very, very interested in going for better opportunities and maybe to explore and to also improve their talent, right? To
Yeah.
to actually work for for companies that are really changing the world. So they look for startups in Silicon Valley, in Texas, in Boston, in the US in general. And they say like, hey, we want to be part of those companies. So that's why when you present them an opportunity to be part of these teams, they are really, really motivated and excited about it.
That's cool. Yeah. Cause I mean, I've just heard, and I mean, that answers the question perfectly, but like, I've just heard that a lot where you get that a bit where it's like, yeah, they're a remote worker. Let me ask you this. Do you do any data, I mean, on workers that go, like employees that end up going full time to these companies and stay 100% remote? Do they have any issues with like being promoted or getting things like that?
That's a really good question, Dalton. So no, at this moment we don't have that information, like
Okay.
what happened afterwards, right? Given that we are still we have 2 years in the market, I realized that one of the first developers, they already have around 18 months from being assigned, and they continue to be in the same position at this moment.
Sure.
Maybe it has something to do with being remote. I don't know. But if you're a good developer, I'm pretty sure that you will start getting, I don't know, the trust from your colleagues,
the employer,
right?
yeah.
The employer, and then they will say like, you know what, he's a really good employee. It makes a lot of sense to promote him right to a higher position. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was just curious on that. I mean, what you're doing is like really cool. And I don't know, and personally, I don't know a lot about the IT world, so I don't know what kind of promote. You know what I mean? I've been a sales guy most of my life, so I don't know 100% what like promotion looks like. So I was just curious, but that's incredible. What made you? I mean, you kind of talked about it a little bit, but just from the beginning. I
Mhm.
mean, you said you've been an entrepreneur for 10 years,
Yeah.
mostly in tech. I mean, what made you take the entrepreneurial route? What made you do serial entrepreneurship?
Right. So I was in college about 10 years ago when I realized that there was this program in our university focused on helping you develop new entrepreneurship skills and
Yeah.
to start your own company and learn from it. So I entered to that course, and I started working on my
Oh,
first project. Yeah, which was basically, there was like a business incubator where you get accepted to the incubator there, and they help you
yeah.
with mentors and all the stuff to build your
Oh,
own project.
wow.
So I was doing that in parallel with starting my career, and
Yeah.
so it's something that started making a lot of sense for me. Like since day one, I was like, okay, I can spend. I like to work, and that's something I really do. So I was at the beginning, my main mission was, or my goal was to be able to allocate the most of my time to things that I wanted to do. And I realized that sometimes if you get a job, you are forced to do some things that you don't like or things like that. So maybe in this case, it was like I like to work, and I like to work as much as possible on my own project to see if it's a success or not. So that's how I started with the company. Then I failed, and I fail a lot with the previous companies. And it's something that you start learning from that. You get more experience, and then you start from the experience that you had before.
That's cool. So you said, yeah, I mean that's an incredible story. But you had in college, I kind of want to go back to the beginning because I'm just curious about this part of the
Mhm.
story.
Sure.
You were in college and they had a business incubator. They had a program about entrepreneurship, kind of help you start your own business. What college was that?
The name is Tec de Monterrey. It's located in Monterrey, Mexico. Yeah,
Wow,
it's
that's
one of the
cool,
top
man.
universities in Mexico. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, because one of the things, I mean, you said you used to live in Texas, right? One of the things like that's big in the U.S. is like, what isn't colleges don't teach business, and there's a few like business specific colleges, but that's one of the big ones in the U.S. is like, you can scroll through LinkedIn real quick and you'll be bound to find a post that says something like colleges should teach entrepreneurship or they don't teach
Yeah.
entrepreneurship and there's stuff like that. So that's kind of cool that you had that opportunity in that college to kind of like, and they kind of helped you grow it. I mean, it's an ingenious idea. I mean, every university in the United States should do
should
that
have at least
at some point.
one program.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, and it is good that you mentioned this because, well, the university was located in Monterrey, Mexico, Tec de Monterrey. So it is one of the few universities that also promotes entrepreneurship. You know, a lot of them they're just like programmed to develop people for working on specific different companies, right? So I believe that. There was an advantage, and I believe, like you mentioned, that all the universities should have at least one program during the whole career, so you can explore what it means to build your own company. And there's like 100% probability that you will fail, and that's okay. You know that's not important. The thing is that you try it out and you see if it's for you or not. If it's not for you, that's okay, you know, like that's okay, but you should at least try once and see if it's a good fit or not.
Yeah, well, you mentioned just being able to try it, right, and seeing if it's for you or not. I think that's still valuable. Like, even if you don't want to do it, you understand what kind of work it takes to like run your own business. You have some kind of like empathy. So when you get into like, because there's a lot of startups, in
Right.
North America, Central South America, like there's a ton of startups, right? And so you're in college, one of those jobs might be a startup. And just understanding like the grit and the hustle and the determination that it takes, you start to, because sometimes, if you don't understand the business principles and what it takes to start a business, it'd be very easy for you to slip into one of these startups and be like, these guys aren't doing this, these guys aren't doing this, and blah, blah, blah. Right. You have no empathy. There's no understanding there. You know what I mean? But if you do, at least it's not for you, but at least you also understand like, hey, I get it, dude. Like this is really tough and blah, blah, blah. Right.
Right, and I think that one thing that is very, very important is that if you have the opportunity to join an existing startup, whoa, that will teach you a lot. You know, like you will learn from firsthand the experience of these founders. They can share with you. If you're joining a company that has, I don't know, 15 to 30 people, that's the early stage of the company, right? So you're able to see and to explore and to understand all the processes that they have inside the company, and you can learn a lot from it, and then start your own company. That's also super valuable.
Yeah, I mean, any kind of like, insight into, a startup or like a business is, you're right, dude. It's just like I work for a startup right now. One of my, my main sales gig. So I have my main sales gig, and then I have a few, little side gigs and businesses that I own. That actually like pay me almost as much as my other one. So I'm gonna go off on a little tangent. I'm not like a 9-to-5 basher. Like a lot of these like entrepreneur people are like, leave your 9-to-5, ditch your 9-to-5, and I'm like, dude, if you love it, like I'm a sales guy, and so I'm with a team that's wonderful. They've got a great product, and it's like I love being there, even though my side stuff does very well for me. Like it's just fun to be part of a team and to feel like you're growing something. And so anyway, that was just one part, my little tangent, because I'm not like, and then I went to college, so I'm not a college basher either. I'm just like a be happy kind of guy. Like if you want to go to college, like go to college, be smart about it. If you want to go off on your own, go off on your own, be smart about it. You know what I'm saying? And just like enjoy this journey of entrepreneurship and stuff like that.
I agree with you on that, Dalton. I believe that the main thing here is that you enjoy what you're doing. If you realize that you're not enjoying what you're doing at all, it is moment to change, man. And you're always thinking like, oh, maybe next year, maybe no, do it now. Like that's the important thing, because life is too short. It's way too short. So if you're not enjoying your time for, I don't know, it's normal that sometimes you don't enjoy what you're doing at a certain point. But if that continues for a long time, it's time to change.
I think you brought up a great point that I've been trying to describe, but I think intuitively during this conversation, we've kind of discovered this. Like you're going to have bad days, and that's not a big deal, right? You have bad days. Sometimes you have bad weeks, and in startups, man, you might have a couple bad months, but there's a difference between like struggling and hustling and like actually hating what you're doing. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah,
Like if
exactly.
you got, if you have the vision and you can go through the mud a little bit, but if you don't, it makes the mud, it makes the mud not work.
Thicker, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's a great point. Thicker, absolutely, dude. 100%. Well, that's great, dude. So for you, um, what helps you kind of stay on top of your business game? What helps you, get through these kind of slumps, if you've had any? I'm
Mhm.
sure you have, but what kind of helps you get through these things?
I believe that you already mentioned it. That is the vision. Me and my other two co-founders share the same vision on this, and we believe that we really need to create these tools for connecting the north part with the central and south part of America, right? Like there's a whole
Yeah,
continent, and I believe that it's been a while since we haven't been connected in a certain way. So it is time that we allow this region to thrive and to grow and to also share knowledge, share the culture, So this is something that really motivates us. Like, okay, we can create a company that will be the main tool for connecting all these countries together in the tech side, right? So at
yeah,
least connecting by tech, they can create beautiful things, beautiful companies together, and that's something that really resonates with our team, and we believe that we need to work hard on that. It's the only way to make it possible. We are creating opportunities for other people that otherwise they wouldn't be there. For both
yeah.
sides, right? Like startups in America, they benefit from hiring people, and the developers, they benefit from having this kind of opportunities. So we're creating that kind of opportunities, and that motivates us a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's a great way to do it, like giving everybody the opportunity. And, yeah, like you mentioned, like a lot of startups go overseas, like more Eastern,
Yeah,
right? And so it's nice to kind of dude, it is nice to be in the same time zone, man.
it is.
It's unreal, like
Yeah.
we have some, I worked at companies where like our stuff was in Turkey,
Okay.
and that was a nightmare. I mean, and I don't know I've never been to Turkey, but it felt like every other week was like a holiday for them. And so like we're already 12 like hours different, and they have like a 5-day holiday. And what felt like to me was like every like 3 times a month they had like a holiday where like no one worked. And it was like, what the freak? Like, oh my gosh, dude, this is
Yeah.
unreal.
Yeah,
You
we
know?
have heard like nightmare stories as well from founders that told us like I had just a silly question. I had to wait one day in order to get an answer, and it was killing me because I had a presentation with my investors the next day. So all those kind of
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
crazy.
so yeah, times. I mean, and if you're 1 hour difference or whatever like that, like that's
No
not a big
problem.
deal. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
like, okay, we can figure this out, and I'm sure. And if it's an easy question to answer, like for me, like if it's an easy question to answer, and someone messages me or something, if it's easy, just answer it right then. It doesn't matter what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Obviously depending, but it's nice like that way. So I think that's a great like idea. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
with your agency, with your startup, you connect these people, and then you kind of, and then you get paid just on the transaction that happens there, kind of like
That's
a finder's fee or something.
well, yeah. What happened here is that we don't charge you as a client anything. We
Okay.
charge the partner agencies that we have as partners inside of the platform. We charge a fee once they assign someone to a project. So it's pretty convenient because that facilitates all the process a lot. The companies in the US, they post the technical profile they're looking for, meaning like this technology, these many years of experience, and they set the monthly budget. They will say like, I'm looking for a React developer with 5+ years of experience, and I only have $4,000 per month tops, right? Or $5,000 per month tops. And then all the software agencies that we already have a little bit over 40 software the agencies. Most of
Wow.
them are located in Mexico, but we also have in Colombia, in Argentina, in Chile, and Uruguay. And they see the project, and they start presenting the candidates that meet their requirements and are also below the budget. So you can, you as a client, you get access to a dashboard with all their profiles. You can evaluate them, see if it's a good fit. You can ask for an interview. You can book an interview inside the platform. And once you once you decide to hire someone, you will make all the payments inside the platform. So you don't have to worry about different currencies. You will pay all in dollars. We use Stripe. So that's pretty convenient for a company. You don't have to worry about legislation and payments and taxes and all that stuff.
You take care of all that, dude.
Yeah, we take care of of all of that. And yeah, in your own account, you get all this like a small dashboard as well of all the developers that you have hired, and you can decide if you want to continue or not every month with them. So that's pretty helpful. And yeah, that's how to process it. We only charge once they assign someone, and we charge a fee to the agency. That's the only payment we get.
Yeah. Oh wow. Well, no, that's nice, because then there's not a whole lot of risk. It's like, no, like we've already got the deal. Like we know we've got a contract, and once it's all solid, then you pay us. And so there's not a whole lot of risk at that point. It's just like, okay.
Yeah. Exactly. And the first month is a trial period, meaning that if you see it's not good, not fit, then you can decide to stop the collaboration right away. You can say like, okay, after 2 weeks, it was not a fit. You're going to stop it right there, or you can hire another developer from the same agency and change and see if it's a better fit. So that's pretty convenient. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Holy cow, that's cool. You've really made it really seamless, like for both kind of parts. You know, like, hey, we don't really like him, and can the agency say, hey, we don't really like this company, like for whatever reason. I mean, like is a arbitrary word, but you know what I mean. We're just not vibing.
Yeah, that's a good point. So at this moment,
is it just the companies?
Just the companies, yeah. The agency, what they do is that in case there's not a good fit because the client is not paying on time or something like that, we intervene and we talk with the client and we express those problems. And if it's not cool, then the agency can stop the collaboration right away. But only if there's no payment, or in the extreme cases that something is going on, that they are, I don't know, having a bad treatment of the developer or something like that, right?
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, I guess that would be in extreme cases for sure. It's just kind of nice. Like that's really cool. That's great, man. Holy cow. Well, I mean, so for you, like what, like this whole I mean, where is it going? Like, where do you want it to go? Like, what do you want to do?
Right. So given that we're focusing on developing the platform, we see this platform becoming like the main source of talent from Latin America. That's our goal. So if you want to hire someone to work remotely in your project, you will use Symbiosis instead of going directly to each country and putting in Google like developers in Mexico, developers in Argentina. This is like one stop solution, right? So that's our main goal. We need to create a tool that actually works for both sides, from the client and also from the partners. We're still on baby steps on that part, even though that we have automated a lot of parts of the platform. We're still to hire more people. We're 6 full-time people at the moment, and the 2 co-founders and other 3 awesome guys that are working on this. And the idea here is that we need to hire at least 10 or more during this year in order to move faster on the product development and also to build a sales team here in the US. I'm the only one doing the commercial efforts, so you can imagine that we need more people.
Oh, wow. Yeah, man. You're doing all the sales just on your own?
Yeah,
so
at this moment,
reaching out to people and
exactly.
Man, that's tough. I'm in Salt Lake, man. That's like the startup tech, one of them anyway. Got like like some of the, like Salt Lake's a big SaaS tech startup. Like
I heard about it. Yeah, unreal. You have like a lot of accelerators, right? In Salt Lake, they also give grants to companies so they can move to Salt Lake City and build their companies.
I think so. Yeah, I don't know a ton about those, but I think you're right. Salt Lake's a big one. I think Austin, Texas is big
Yeah,
SaaS. I think Massachusetts, like Boston,
yeah, Boston. Boston
is also a big one. Well, and
yeah, it
then
is
obviously
Silicon Valley.
The Pacific
Yeah,
Northwest,
LA,
dude.
and yeah, that's right.
Freaking like Seattle, Portland,
But
lot of big ones.
now that you mentioned that, and this is a little secret that we have found out at the
Yeah,
moment, is
yeah,
that there are a lot of cities in the US that they are growing really, really fast on tech, and they are having a lot of startups to come over to that cities because maybe big cities like San Francisco, LA,
mhm,
Austin, living there,
yeah,
the cost of living is going really, really high. So it makes more sense if you can work
yeah.
remotely and you can build your company in a city that's not as expensive as those cities. Well, it makes a lot of sense. So you have to be frugal, right? I don't know if
Oh
that's
yeah,
the right word, but yeah, you need to be frugal on how you expend your money. Even more if you're just an early stage startup.
yeah. I mean, yes, you're. I mean, beyond correct. Like, um, it's just true. Like, and especially for remote workers, like the dude, cost of living. I mean, I don't know why most SaaS companies aren't remote. I mean, I like kind of like the hybrid model where you can, hey, if I got to work from home today, I can. But I like going into the team. I like seeing the team.
Okay,
You know
okay.
what I'm saying? I like that. But hey, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
You're building your company. You're building your brand. You've been an entrepreneur for 10 years. You've had companies and all this stuff. I just want to get your take on this. What does it take to build a trustworthy brand? Like, what does that mean to you? And what do you try? How do you approach that? Because you during the whole conversation, you've been, I mean, I love what you're doing, and it sounds amazing, right? I'm
Appreciate
just
that,
curious
man.
how you build that on the back end so that companies like in the U.S. and agencies in Central and Latin America go for it.
Right. So, wow, that's a really good question. So, once we got accepted to the Capital Factory Accelerator, which is in Austin, Texas,
Mhm.
um, we realized that one mentor. I was talking with a mentor there, and he told me the importance of being trustworthy, right, for
Yeah,
companies in the U.S. because
yeah,
like you mentioned at the beginning of the program, there are a lot of companies offering these software services. If you need talent, you can get talent from Asia, from Europe, from other
yeah,
regions, right? That
yeah,
so
yeah.
if people get like 100 emails or 100 messages per week saying like, "Hey, do you need developers?"
Mhm.
So how can you trust somebody in this space, right? So
Right.
right now we already have 2 years in the market with Symbiosis, and we have learned that the first clients that we got them their testimonials, and we share them on our website, and we also ask them for referrals. Word of mouth is incredible
Mhm.
at this moment for an early stage company, but we continue to ask for more referrals, and then we
Mhm.
realized that one way to have these other companies trust in our project is that we share we make intros to our clients. It is better that other people talk about their experience than ourselves saying like,
Oh.
this is what we do and we're the best like everyone else is doing, right? Like, okay, no, you can go directly with our clients, with our active clients, and they can share their experience, their feedback and everything. And
Wow.
that was a way to create trust between with the clients. And also the other thing for us is super important. We understand it from day one that building trust with our clients and with the leads that we have was key
Mhm.
in order to succeed. So we're working on that. One effort that we are constantly doing is that we're hosting webinars and discussion panels. Our guy Eddie, who is in marketing, he's in charge of leading all that efforts, and he's a rock star on that part. And he's helping us to invite more people um, to spread the word,
Mhm.
about
Mhm.
Symbiosis and about their own experience. If they're an expert on building products or launching startups or raising capital, we invite them to have a take in our program so they can share, and that helps us to become like more robust, more experts on our own space. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you mentioned those two things really good. Like I was actually thinking about that while you were saying that. I was like, man, that's so true, huh? Like part of way to build trust is with like reviews and testimonials. And yeah, man, that's a big one. And then obviously like what you said, just giving out, giving people what they need, offering people a lot of content and like free stuff and just and being there for them, like showing that
Exactly.
you're an expert and that you know what you're talking about. I think I read a book quite a while ago. In fact, now I've mentioned it a few times. I should probably go back and reread it, but it's called Presence by Amy Cuddy, and
Okay.
she said that people like make decisions, like they make decisions quick, and it's confidence and competence, right?
Hmm.
Like do you or excuse me, like, oh, excuse me, yeah, it's warmth and competence. Like, do they care and do they know? And that's
Okay.
how people start to build. You know what I mean? That's like the kind of
Yeah.
like the incubator. That's where it all starts.
All
And
right.
yeah, and that's kind of what you're saying, right? Like, establish yourself as an expert. Other people talk about you. You know what I mean?
You're saying something that is super, super important here. And um, given that Latin America is not like it's not as known as India or Eastern Europe for providing software talent to
Yeah,
for example US, still need to create this awareness about it, right? So we still need
yeah,
to work on that. And at the beginning, when I start talking with a lot of companies in the US, the first comments that I got is, are there really good talent in Latin America? Do you guys have engineers right there? Things like that, you know? So it was,
wow,
yeah. So it was important to start building trust in that matter. Like, yeah, you can check out their portfolios. These are senior developers that they have been working the same technologies, like JavaScript, front end development with React, Angular, backend with Python, machine learning. So these blockchain, so these developers are really, really good. They are super talented and they have their portfolios, their own experience, so they can validate their skills. So it was more like you have to to try them out. Like you just have to start working with them and see if it's a
yeah.
good fit or not. There's no other way around. So the first company started hiring them, and then we use them as referrals for the next client.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's great, dude. And it's funny that you mentioned that. It's like, of course, there's people like that everywhere. You know what I mean? Everywhere, like
Exactly.
especially in Central and South America. But like, yeah, I mean, it's just funny how people like unaware people can be.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? Now,
I
like
do.
one thing that surprised me when we talked was like, um, just how many come out of, I because I was like, yeah, I mean, like we're not the only economy in the world, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was just like, oh yeah, I mean, obviously there's people down there doing their stuff, doing their thing, but then you're making a whole, I mean, you're creating an empire out of this stuff, and I'm like, that's that's what's up.
Yeah,
You
it's
know what I'm
well
saying?
the first step of a small empire. If you want to say like just the first steps of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, absolutely, dude. So for you, in your experience, what's one of the most important pieces of a startup, of like starting a business?
The founders, that's for
Mm.
sure. The founders,
Yeah, tell me more.
the team that you're building, there it's something that is key and for everything, like for your personal life or business, the team that you surround, the people that you surround with, they will incentivize you to create more stuff, or they will to take you out of the projects, right? So
Mhm.
I don't know how to say it, but it is important to be surrounded with people that share the same values than you. That's one of
Oh, yeah.
the most important things, that you share the same vision. And I know that this is probably like it sounds like a record, like everyone says this and everything, but it is so important, so important that you share the same goals with the people, because it will make it easier. When there's always problems, there's always like bad times during a company, like you mentioned, that you need to stay there and to solve them. And it's important to be with your friends. I would say that if you're going to start a company, start it with a friend. That's for sure, because you share a lot of experiences before, and that will help you go through the bad times. Like you can recall a story with your friends going to the beach or going to a party or thing like that, and you will say like, okay, you know what? It doesn't matter, dude. Let's keep working on this. So
Interesting.
yeah, it is so important. At least from my standpoint of view, I believe that it's so important to have that as a background.
That's cool that you mentioned like a friend. I mean, and so yeah, dude, like your friend, right? That's cool, man. Because partnerships are tough too.
Yeah.
At what point do you say like we are friends, but this is also our business, and like, do you mix those, or do you try to keep them separate, or how do you do that?
Okay, so during the business, you have to keep it separate. Like you have to keep it separate. But at the end, you're still friends. Maybe you say like after work, we can go and grab a couple of beers, have a barbecue during the weekend. That's super cool. But during the work, it's like, okay, we are co-workers. We need to pull this thing out, and we need to solve this problem, and that's the thing. But it makes all the difference to have your friends, even though that you might be working with them. And there's this thing that you shouldn't work with friends and families, right? Because you will lose the friendship, or you will have a bad time with your family during Christmas. But the thing here is that it doesn't. It depends, right? If you're not an asshole on that, I'm sorry for the bad words, but
go ahead, do what you gotta do, man.
If you're not a bad person, there's always a way to solve problems, and it is better to have your friends with you, and it is always better to work on things that you both care about, and friendship will always solve, and they will always overcome the problems and the little issues that come along.
Yeah, I think you're right. When you're in a business, you want a partner. You know what I mean? You want somebody that you want somebody that you've worked with before, who's like, you know how they're going to react in certain situations.
Yeah.
You know what's going to happen. So, I mean, that's great. If that's your buddy,
Yeah.
But you're right. Like, it depends. Like, I started a business with one of my friends, and so far it's been great. So far it's been nice, and hopefully we keep doing that. And I don't see why it wouldn't go that way, but it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's something that you see for the long term, right? That you see yourself 10 years, 15 years from now working with the same people, and that's okay. You're not thinking like, I'm going to change in 3 years to another company because there's just bad blood here or something like that. It doesn't work like that, because those guys from before starting the company. And one of the main reasons why I mentioned that team is one of the most important things while building your company is because, well, being part of this business incubator in college, it taught us that one of the main reasons why startups don't succeed and they die in the first 2 years is because co-founders they separate, right? And so they have like problems and
falling out or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So and then, well, one founder is unable to continue to work, and they decide that there's not a go, and they stop the company, right? So that's a big problem, and one of the main reasons why VCs, early stage VCs or angel investors ask for a good team is because they know that if they fall out and they separate, the whole company will suffer about it. So that's why.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, yeah, if you're not on the same page with the, if the board or executives aren't on the same page, then that's a real problem.
It is. It is for sure.
That's a good point, man. That's a way good point. Well, like, dude, I'm glad we got to meet. I'm glad we got to talk, dude. So what, you guys are moving to the next step. I mean, where are you hoping this goes, man?
Right. So for the next step in the short term, we need to release new features on our website and our platform as well,
Yeah.
in order to automate a lot of process. Because it might seem like it's automated right now, but it's not. Well, not at
Yeah.
least not all of it. Right. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of effort from the team, doing all the stuff like processing sometimes the payments internally. It seems like it's
Yeah.
automated, but sometimes it's us also sending the invoices and doing all those kind of stuff, like an
Yeah.
interview. They're already automated, but we need to follow up and realize that the partner already accepted the interview, so the developer will be there, thing like that. So we still need to
Yeah.
work on that part. But we're moving really fast on that part. I'm really proud of the team because they're working all the issues, all the problems, and we're building a product from scratch. So that's pretty impressive. That's cool. And well, we're looking to raise some funding. At the moment, we're
Cool.
raising a pre-seed round. So we will try to get this by the end of the year. That's our goal, and
Cool.
and yeah, that will allow us to accelerate because we have been bootstrapping for
Yeah.
2 years now, and that has helped us a lot to learn about the
Yeah.
market, to how to be frugal, like I mentioned before, like how to
Yeah.
use money in the things that matter, that
Yeah.
really matters. And that's it. That's our story now. We need to keep moving to position ourselves as a company. We need to build this brand awareness around Symbiosis with companies in the US sourcing for talent in the region. So that's our main goal at the moment.
Oh, that's great, man. Holy cow, that's cool. Well, good, man. So if somebody's listening to this podcast and they want to check you out, like what's your website?
Right.
What's your app? Tell us how to find you, dude.
Sure. So our website is symbiosis.team.
Okay.
Symbiosis with eyes instead of y. Like it's like in Spanish, it's
Yeah.
symbiosis. All the
Yeah.
the eyes. And my personal email is Omar at symbiosis.team. That's
Cool,
my
man.
email. You can send me a message. I'll be more than glad to help you out in case that if you're looking for talent. I'll be more than happy to jump in on a call and help you out.
Heck yeah, man. Well, hey, dude, I love it, man. I love what you're doing. I appreciate it. And I'll definitely make sure all of that's available for everybody. But thank you so much for coming on, man.
I appreciate your time, Dalton. It was a pleasure. It was such a great experience to talk with you. I really enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to collaborate maybe in another time, maybe in 3 months, 4 months. I don't know. Being
Yeah,
invited
dude.
in your program, it will be great,
I'm all about it, brother. Thank you.
man. I appreciate it, Dalton. Okay, you have a good one then.